Where were you sleeping?
Oh, train stations, parks, wherever I could for that first month. And snow dropping, taking clothes off lines and towels and to keep warm and use as pillows. And I lasted 3 or 4 weeks, and I was like, this is a lot harder than...
Yeah, what did you find out there?
Oh, it's scary.
That's Ben Stamatovich. He's a man who's lived the kind of life many wouldn't survive. Growing up without either of his birth parents, Ben was sleeping rough on the streets from the age of 13 and stealing just to eat and stay warm, soon finding himself trapped in a cycle of homelessness that would dominate his young life.
I did what I had to do to survive, and that meant breaking the law.
His resourcefulness, the will to survive, and the hope that things would one day get better is all that kept him alive when the pressure of life brought him to his knees time and time again.
I was living to the next hour, like I wasn't planning on the next day. I was just living in the moment every day, which was not a good moment to be living in.
He finally found his feet in his early 20s, only to become a drug addict and lose it all to meth, a crippling habit he eventually kicked by going cold turkey in a tent.
And it just grabbed me and just took me along for a ride of 2 years of fucking losing the house, losing my job, cricket, lost 3 cars, lost my kids.
Ben's thought about giving up too many times to count over the years, but he's hung on and dragged himself back out of the abyss that's always threatened to consume him. In the face of all the pain, he's found true love in his partner, his family, and his surprising passion for drone photography, a hobby that came out of nowhere and has since grown to become one of Ben's biggest motivators. His work much loved by a huge following.
It's given me a reason to keep going. As stupid as that sounds, even with kids, grandkids, the drone really took my mind away from...
It gave you an outlet.
It gave me an outlet, and it was my thing.
He'd be the first to tell you he's not all fixed. Life isn't that simple, though all the pieces have been glued back together. It's hard to put Ben's story into words, but he's given it a bloody good crack.
I still have my bad days, and my bad days aren't good, but I look for a reason to continue on.
Welcome to Young Blood, an award-winning podcast on a mission to make the mental health of young men a top priority. My name's Callum McPherson, I'm a journalist, and this is our platform to open up and share stories of what we've been through because we're not alone. Let's do it. Trigger warning, this episode discusses suicide. If you or someone you know is suicidal, please call Lifeline on 13 14 11 or the suicide prevention hotline in your country.
So Ben, how did you end up on the streets?
When I was 13, I got sat down. Well, when I was 2 or 3, a fella and a lady were together, my mum and dad. A couple of years later, the fella disappeared, my dad. And then a year later, another fella lobbed up. And I knew he wasn't my dad, so I never called him dad, always called him by his first name from the age of 4 or whatever I was. So he moved in with my mum. Then come 13, I got in trouble with the police. My mum sat me down and said, "Oh, I've got something important to tell you." And I was like, okay, here we go. What, am I grounded or whatever? And she said, "I'm not your mum. I'm not your real mum." And I was like, okay. And it hit hard. Like, it really sat me on my ass.
Yeah.
And I was already sitting on my ass. But I mean, that night I remember just crying all night. I was just...
Was that true?
Yeah. Was that true?
Was it true that she wasn't your real mum?
Yeah. So my real mum left me with my dad, who then met this lady. And then he left me with her, but I was too young, obviously. I was 16 months old when my mum left me with the dad, and then blah, blah, blah. So I just thought she was mum all the way through and never doubted it. I doubted some things around it after she told me, as in just probably the love feeling maybe. I didn't quite, there was a few things that
Something was missing.
Yeah, something was missing. So then from then I sort of felt like I was in the way. I was from the age of 10, 11, 12, leaving home already. So as in sneaking out on a Friday night, getting back on a Saturday morning, trying to sneak back in my window and, being a little rat bag. And she told me, hoping it would straighten me out. And I mean, when's a good time to tell someone you're not there?
Yeah.
Even look back, I don't blame her. When is a good time? Like I don't know when is a good time unless you're straight up from the get-go.
But understandably, that totally rocked your world.
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I was like, and then I felt in the way, and there was things happening with the stepfather that shouldn't happen with kids, and And I thought, I've snuck out a few times. I'm going to just do the bolt and see how I go. So I was 13. I just left home. I just said, that's it, I'm going. And
That, or did you run away?
No, I ran away. Yeah, I left on a Friday night. That was the first time. I went out, I was about a month living out on the streets for about a month and staying at a mate's house on weekend or something like that, because I was 13. Like,
Yeah.
they were going to school, but I stopped school then as well. So their parents would be like, you're not staying over on a weeknight, like rah. So they would think I'd be staying at home Monday to Friday, and I'd go there on a weekend. And a bit of pride thing is I didn't want anyone to know, and so I didn't even tell my closest mates.
Where were you sleeping?
Oh, train stations, parks, wherever I could for that first month, and snow dropping, taking clothes off lines and towels and to keep warm and use as pillows. And I lasted 3 or 4 weeks, and I was like, this is a lot harder than...
Yeah, what did you find out there?
Oh, scary. I was scared. Like the first couple of nights, I was like, the adrenaline was like, this is pretty cool. No one's telling me what to do. I can do whatever I want, whenever I want.
Yep.
And then the reality sort of kicks in that, hang on,
fucking cold.
I'm fucking cold. I'm lonely, and this is not really what I want to be doing. But the alternative was to go back and pick up how it was, and how it wasn't good, where I was, regardless of what my mum told me. And I still call her mum now, and I still talk, we still talk.
But you'd made that decision that you weren't going to go back.
Yep, I did. I made it. And the reason why I went back, I got picked up by the police. So they were like, no fixed address. I said, well, we've got to take you to your parents. So I went back there, not on my own accord. I went back with the police and probably nutted it out another, I don't know the time. I don't know, probably 4 or 5 weeks, 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And in that period, we shifted house and moved a few more k's away. And on this one occasion, the dog got out. I went with the stepfather and went looking for the dog, and he sort of thought he found it. It was in bushland. We were in the bush. And so he stopped the car and trotted off up the track looking for the dog, and I'm just sitting there. So I just don't want to be here. So I just opened up the door and legged it and sat in the bush. Well, I knew he'd be pissed. And he's driving around. I got him driving around. And I was hiding behind a tree the whole time. And went up and stayed at this old train bridge. And it was only about 800 metres from home, but I stayed there for a few weeks, about 8 weeks. It's about a 300 metre long tunnel. It's huge. And it's got these little alcoves in it, obviously, where people would stand when the trains used to go through it. And there's no trains through there for years.
Yep.
And you had light fire in there. And knowing that they went to work the next day, then I'd just sneak home, get a feed.
Right.
I think Mum knew what I was up to, and she was probably didn't care.
Yeah.
Like,
She just wanted you to be fed.
She just wanted, yeah, exactly. She just wanted to know that I was all right. And that was her thing the whole way through. She just wanted to know I was all right. She knew she couldn't stop me. There's nothing that could have stopped me. She just wanted to know I was all right all the way through my whole, even up to today.
And did you keep in contact the whole way through?
No. I slipped out. And it was only, I was forced contact from then not leaving. I left for a long spell, and we'd get in trouble with the police. And then,
Same thing had happened.
Same thing would happen. I did a 3-month spell in the juvie when I was 16, and the only way they'd let me out was to go back to there. Otherwise, I had to stay in and do another 3 months or something. So, yep, no worries, I'll go back. And then 3 days later, shoot off and go pursue my life, I think. At the time, I didn't know what I was doing, really.
And so how many years did that pattern sort of go on for?
8.
Right.
Yeah, so I was about 21. There was a lot of couch surfing. There was a lot on the streets, and there was a lot of 5-6 weeks at someone's place. But after 3 or 4 days, it was just that same feeling of not being welcome or overstaying it. So, and being I thought, a bit proud, and I didn't want people to know too much about me and why haven't I got a place to go to, and I just do the bolt and.
So you wouldn't tell people the full story?
No. I played cricket. 14, 15, I'd got home, stole my cricket whites, and thought, because I loved cricket, and I was fortunate enough to be pretty good at it. I got jobs through life because of cricket. So I'd be rocking up to play on a Saturday, 400 metres down the road, take me trackies off to have my whites underneath, and then rock up, play cricket, and then go try and find somewhere to sleep that night. So I was passionate about it.
And no one knew about it?
No one knew about it.
Yeah.
Whether they did or not, I don't know, but I didn't tell anyone.
Didn't let on about it?
No way. No, that's not something I was proud about. It wasn't at all. I was happy within myself that I was doing what I want. I could do what I want, and you know, I was a little shit.
Yeah.
But I could do what I want without anyone telling me, oh, there's no rules, you know. I mean, I didn't do anything bad. I didn't, you know, there wasn't anything bad I done. I did what I had to do to survive. And that meant breaking the law, and I had to, you know.
Stealing stuff.
Absolutely. And joyriding in cars. You know, there was some stupid shit that was done for fun. And, but the majority of it was survival. And that was the biggest key, is survival, keeping warm and getting food in the bag.
What was it like not belonging anywhere for so long, though?
It was very lonely. There was many a nights I sat in the cold crying, feeling that I just wanted to be a part of something, a part of a family or a community. And that's what led me to my first attempt. My first suicide attempt was from just feeling worthless, just feeling like I didn't fit in anywhere, and a bit of a feeling from 13, 14 of, if everything gets too hard, I'll just finish my life, and then that I won't affect anybody then, or, you know, I won't have those feelings. And so my first attempt was pretty, it was a bit of a wakener upper. It wasn't, I was 14 years old. I didn't know, you know, I didn't know what I was doing. So which is good.
Did anything change after that?
No, not really. Not straight away, no. But nothing really changed, because nothing changed in my life. The reason I did it was because I was sitting alone under a tree. Yeah. So the next day I was sitting alone at a bus stop. Yeah. And then I was, you know, sleeping on a train.
And so when did things start to change?
18, 17. I spent my 18th in juvenile detention centre. I went back home for a month or so. And again, same. And then moved out again. And it wasn't from... And this is what was frustrating for me. It wasn't like I didn't have chances to improve, because all through, like, I had opportunities to work. I had opportunities with cricket, like to get a job and play for that club. And it was just the whole living side of it, though.
So did you do that sometimes?
Yeah, I
did. Had part-time jobs?
Yeah, I did. So I lasted 6 months at this place called Midland Brick. They employed me to play cricket for Midland Districts. And yep, done. Yeah, no worries. Then, you know, I just wouldn't rock up for work, because I'd just be off, you know, just doing my own thing. Like it was, you know, a bit of self-discipline that needed to be kicked in too. But
if you don't have a place to say, you know, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that's the most fundamental key part to life. You've got to have a safe environment to base everything off.
And that job was when I was 17. So it was, you know, I was already 4 years in to being on the streets and that. So it wasn't something new. It was something that this is the way, and that's the way I thought, this is the way I am. Like, I'm just going to live life, no one telling me what to do, and rah. And it wasn't until I ended up hooking back up with an old school friend. I stayed with his mum and family for a bit, and they were great. They're really, really nice people, and took me in. Never made me feel uncomfortable or anything like that. I felt uncomfortable within myself. Yeah. We ended up getting a unit together, and I would have been 20. So yeah, it's because 21. When I was 21, we were on the piss one night and said, let's go to Adelaide. And next day, as you do, and I already had 2 cracks at coming to Adelaide. Right. I come over for 6 months and spent 6 months on the streets here when I was 16, and Salvation Army helped, or one of the charities helped me get back to Perth, providing I went back to the parents again. So again, I went back for 2 weeks and did the bulk. So I'd already been to Adelaide, so we were talking about it. I said, I've been there, like, you know, it's a pretty good spot, rah. So on our dole day, which was 2 days later or whatever, we bought train ticket, come over here, lobbed here. The train broke down at Kalgoorlie. We got on the beers. 2 days it was broken down. We left with $400. We got here with 50. So we're straight into a taxi thinking, oh yeah, you know, a little $5 ride or something over. You know, said to the cab, he takes us to the nearest hotel, pub. He ended up taking us to Hutt Street. And I was thinking, there's one just down the road.
That's a long way.
Yeah. So there was, you know, $15 there, I think. But it's funny how the world works. Is that, you know, we're sitting at we said, we've got $30 left. Let's just go down and have a drink.
Yeah, might as well.
See what happens. And we're sitting there, and we're drinking, and we're talking to this fella, and he's sitting in there, and he's like, what are you fellas doing? I told him a bit of, we just lobbed here, rah, rah. And he goes, oh, you looking for a job? It's like, yeah, bloody oath, mate. He goes, well, I'm working on the Grand Prix, and it was only, 3 weeks away from the Grand Prix. And he goes, I'm looking for a couple of fellas to jump on the back of the garbage truck and run around. I said, where you, man? No dramas, sweet as. He goes, where you living? And I said, oh, well, we've got $20 now. I just bought you a beer. And he goes, well, I've got a couple of spare rooms at home. Right. So I was like, wow, this is cool. So we lobbed straight there from that night. We got on the piss there, and we lobbed there. And we worked on the Grand Prix. Got we got $2,000 or something for 5 days' work.
Was that all right?
Yeah. It was cool. Yeah, no, it was great. He was a good, genuine fellow as well. There was no hidden agenda or anything.
Okay, so that was lucky.
It was lucky. Yeah. It was absolutely lucky. Yeah. And so he.
So you were rich for a weekend there?
Oh yeah, I'd say 2 weeks, because by the time we hit Hindley Street,
it was all gone.
It was all gone.
It happens that way.
But it does. But and he was an electrician by trade. So when he finished the Grand Prix, he went off and worked like 4 weeks on, 1 week off, away in mines, and said, I need someone to look after the house and shit. So no worries. So we stayed there for a year and a half.
Oh right, okay.
And only did that 4 days at the Grand Prix, and then was just on the dole, just riding our bikes in town every week all day, getting a cart and whatever, and just again just wasting it.
Yeah, you didn't try to work during that time?
No, I didn't. I didn't. I hadn't played cricket or worked, and just being irresponsible, really. Looking back at it, like, that's 20, 21, that's, you should be starting to.
Yeah, but feeling like, you had an actual house to stay in.
Yeah, it was
someone giving you money. Yeah. Things were good compared to how they had been.
And the first time in a long time, I felt like it was a home. Like, it felt homely. We'd go home and just chuck my shirt on the bed, and it's like, like, it was
and it was being given to you. So
it was. Yeah. So so we nutted that out for a bit, and then he eventually met up with a chick. And he started, going out a bit with her, and rah. So I started doing I actually walked past the Gazer, the cricket club there, and they were, it was on a Thursday arvo, and they were having a hit, and I thought, I ain't having a bowl for a couple of years, and then a hit. So I was like, I'll just go and ask him, which was pretty, I'm not courageous, but I knew I was good at it, so I was confident enough to be able to just walk up and say, look, give us a nut.
Because if they give you one, then you'll impress them.
Yeah, I knew that would, and I knew, that people just don't walk off the street and be able to bowl. Yeah. You're pretty sharp, so.
And you're still sharp at that point?
Yeah. No, I was rusty. Yeah. I was rusty sharp. Yeah. So I was very, a bit erratic, and, but landed a few good ones, and landed enough for him to say, what's the go? Where are you playing for? I said, I'm not playing for anyone. If we get your job, would you play here? Because I told them I'm unemployed. So they got me my first job where I thought, what, this is where I'm starting my life. It's just, I'm going to this is the start of my life now. It's 21. I'm going to have a crack responsible. So I did. I nutted down, played cricket 4 or 5 years or something.
Still living in that same place?
Yeah, I was living in the same place, and then met a couple of people at the club, obviously. And one of them was ended up being a good mate, and I ended up moving in with him. As you do with the cricket and the sport, and just having that community, that feel that you always meet someone who knows someone who knows someone.
So you had some good years there?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I had some good years. I still had down times, and I did.
Because you had a lot of unresolved trauma as well.
Absolutely, I did. And it didn't go away. I mean, you can drink, go on a Friday night and Saturday night, and it's forgotten, and you have a good time, and you're merry, and you seem really happy with your friends, and they'll be thinking, no, nothing's wrong with anybody, and then come Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you come back to a bit of reality, and it all comes flooding back to you, and it was unresolved. But I had good times. I was back playing cricket. I was working. I had things occupying my mind. Had a good base of people around me, and he was living with his parents. And again, I felt a bit, I don't think that feeling's ever gone from feeling in the way of people's lives.
You felt like you're always sort of trying to attach yourself to other people's lives.
Exactly. Rather than just be accepted, just be accepted. I was the one trying to force things
because you had to.
Because I had to, and it's a shit feeling. It really is. Even looking back, it's a desperate, like it's a shit feeling. And we started. Yeah, so I moved out there, moved in with my mates there I was playing cricket with, who then I got a job through the same cricket club, and so then we all started working together as well, and it was great. And I was there, I was there 3 years at this place.
And working. You end up buying your own house?
Well, that's, yeah. So out of 3 years, I met this lady. She already had a girl. And then within 6 months, a year, she was pregnant to myself, obviously. It was like, let's buy a house. Yeah. So went and signed up this for block and house and land package,
Yeah.
And she was already in the drugs. I didn't know at the time. I'm a bit naive. Even through the time on the streets, I never got into the drug side of it. And I really didn't, because it was all about survival. I looked at people on the drugs and it's hard enough now, like, let alone getting on the gear and chasing the money. And not that I thought about chasing the money or anything at the time. I just thought, why would you want to do that? And so she was already on the gear. So I was working 70, 80-hour weeks in transport, and on Friday would be working 20-hour day every Friday. So she said, do you want to try some of this, like, to get you through? And I was like, yeah, okay, give us a crack.
Talking about meth, yeah.
Yeah. So I had a bit of it, and the Friday went really, really good. And then the Saturday went goodish, and then Sunday I'd crash back down again, and then come Monday time for work, I was rat shit.
Yeah.
So then it become from 3 or 4 weeks of having it on a Friday to having it then on a Sunday, and then a Tuesday, and then a Wednesday.
Yeah, and that's how it happens.
And that's how it happens.
On it.
And
because coming off it's too bad.
You don't want to come off it. Yeah. And it's too bad because, that's right, you don't sleep, you're shit house. So that went, and I just signed up the house, and 4 weeks into this start of this habit, I just knew this isn't a good time to be buying a house. Like, we just had a kid. She's full on into it, and I didn't know, and it's stupid, and looking back, it's stupid.
How did you not know? You didn't want to see it?
I was working so much.
Oh, okay.
Working way too much. So I'd go to work, and she'd just go off and bloody do her thing.
Right.
I'd come home and go to bed, think she's going to sleep. She's not. She's obviously reading or doing whatever, whatever she was doing.
Yeah.
And so I just didn't know. And then on weekends, she would sleep. And then looking back at it, a couple of years later, it's like, you're sleeping because you've been awake Monday to Friday. Well, I'm working. So then I'd look after the kids.
But it was pretty clear to you that this is probably not a good idea.
I knew it's not a good idea. I went and picked out the curtain, the tiles and curtains and shit. I did it by myself. And even I remember being there, even this minute, I remember being there and going, why isn't she here? Like, for starters, this is meant to be a celebration in life sort of thing. And so I picked out all the tile, and then I'm driving back home. Why am I doing this? And I thought, it's 150. That's what it was, $150 a week. I thought, this is easy. Like, even if all goes pear-shaped, I'll still fucking do it.
Yeah.
And already had my mindset it's going to go pear-shaped with her. And I wasn't in a bad habit then. Like, when we bought the house, I was only, like I said, 4 or 5 weeks into this habit.
It doesn't take long though.
It doesn't take long. And it just grabbed me and just took me along for a ride of 2 years of fucking losing the house, losing my job, cricket, lost 3 cars, lost my kids. And that was me wake-up call. I was 25 then.
Back on the streets,
back homeless. I was surf bloody jumping or whatever it is again. But
with an addiction this time.
And living in motel to motel to then becoming pokies to, like the whole works, and the depression and the anxiety. And
how was it different the second time with all that going on?
It was more intense.
It mean you were around a lot more violence and
later on the second time, and it was more hurtful because the base of friends I were around were nothing like that, like into the drugs and all that sort of thing. So I was really shamed, whereas before I didn't feel belonged or whatever. I wasn't shamed. This time I felt shamed because I'd taken up this drug habit. I had this, good mates and that weren't doing it.
It changed your view of yourself.
And it did. It changed the view of myself.
And I guess the view of you from others as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought, they would have judged me for the decisions I was making at the time.
So you were still able to hide it for a while, or?
Yeah, because I just stopped seeing them. So I just cut off and just stopped, and that's what it does as well. And as does the depression, anxiety, everything. It just cuts you off from everybody, and you just want to be left alone. And I just wanted to be left alone with my drug habit and shit going on up here, you know. And then when they come and took the house, because the habit went from, I think it was $150 a week to about $1,200 a week between us. Yeah, quickly. So things had to. My wage wasn't going to.
Something had to give.
You know, subsidise that. So something had to give. So I had to start improvising to be able to afford our drug habit, because she was, you know, enjoying the ride as well as her drug habit increased because our money.
So you're just selling everything you got.
Selling everything I got, stealing, lost my job because of the stealing side of it. And I was set up there to go high.
Yeah.
And not high, but to go up in the ranks in employment there. And I stuffed that up.
And you were quickly a different person to the one that signed up 6 months ago, whatever it was.
I remember going out to the lunch van and I hadn't seen the office staff for 6 months, which sometimes happens, you know, with just, it was a big company. It was a massive company. And this one time the lady goes, "Are you all right, Ben?" I was like, yeah, well, she goes, "You've lost so much weight. What's wrong with it?" So that was just in 6 months. It just so quickly it just drains you out. It's a shit world to be in. It's a shit drug, and I got zero tolerance for it, and really zero tolerance for people that take it, because I've been there. I know what it's like.
But you got to empathise with people thinking that it's not going to get them like that, and then very quickly it does.
It does, but as quick as it gets you like that, you can get off. You can get away from that. Not that I've got zero tolerance for it, but I mean I can't handle being around anyone that's on it at zero, nothing at all. But I got empathy for people that I understand how you can get to that.
Not knowing what's going to happen.
Not knowing what's going to happen. And not everyone's built differently, aren't they? So, I mean, some people can just give up stuff and whatever. I mean, I can't give up smoking. You know, and there's people out there, what are you fucking doing smoking?
Yeah,
like, you know. So
a bit of an addictive personality, but still meth will get anyone.
Meth will get the best of people, and it's proven to do that. And my turning point was when the kids got taken. Within 2.5 years, I'd lost the house, cars, kids. We were motel jumping. And her brother come and took the two girls and said, "This isn't happening." He's a very good fella. Still see him to this day. And I thanked him numerous times. And that was a wake-up call. And I said, "Look what's just happened here. Like, you know, is meth going to overrule like everything, which it already has?" And she wanted to continue that track. And I didn't. So I went to a caravan park and stayed in a tent for about 8 weeks.
Just gone cold turkey in a tent.
Just gone cold turkey in a tent. And
that would have been a pretty hardcore.
That was hardcore, and it was. So I reunited with the people I played cricket with.
You tell them what happened?
Yeah. Yeah. And they're like, you know, "I've got no money to give you." And I thought, "No, I'm here for the money, man. I'm just here to have a fucking, you know,
But
chat."
obviously they'd think that.
Of course they think that. Yeah. As anyone, you know, would. And it wasn't what I wanted. So he gave me a tent. I said, "Look, I'm going to pay the tent fees and everything." Like I said, "Just, you know, let me spot me a tent." "Yeah, sweet as, man." He goes, "You get your shit together, you know, come back, you know, we'll talk." And he'd come and see me every couple of days, and, you know, everything was kosher, and we, you know, getting along. And, you know, we always got along. He was a good fellow. He really was a good fellow.
Yeah, so you did meet some good people along the way.
I met some great people along the way. And then it was me that stuffed it up.
Yep.
Wherever situation I went, I stuffed it up for myself. I had plenty of opportunities to better myself. I just didn't. I just
something was a bigger priority.
Yeah. There was always something there that I thought was exactly a bigger priority. So I did the cold turkey, and the cold turkey. So after 4 or 5 days, once I was straight. I didn't really look forward to getting off my guts, because I knew there had to be a come down with it.
Yeah.
In the end, like at the end of the 2 years,
just be back in the same spot.
Yeah. So
that 4 or 5 days wouldn't have been nice.
No, it wasn't nice. And that was, you know, probably from 4 or 5 days of not sleeping as well.
Yep.
But prior to that, I knew I just needed a few days just to get the shit out of my system, to know that I didn't want to get up there again, because it's just...
You've got to pay the piper.
Yeah.
What goes up must come down.
Exactly right. And from there, I got a unit. I then went back and seen the brother-in-law, and said, look, I got my shit together, I got the kids back. The oldest daughter was Jessie. She was my partner's girl. So obviously she's a bit hesitant to stay with the stepdad, like, you know, and she was only 5 or something. So she wanted to stay with mum, and I wanted Jordan because I knew the circumstances that was happening. And the mother wouldn't have a bar of it, So I said, look, you keep the pension, let me take Jordan. And she's like, after about a week or two, she's like, yep, cool. So I looked after Jordan for 6 months on the dole, and, you know, buying food and the rent and living the straight life. And I couldn't afford to, and I didn't even want to chase that life anymore. I was then, of course, going through court from me stealing to support the habit. I was going through all the court, and I was looking at doing some time because of some serious offences, not dangerous to anybody or anything, but just a lot of money's worth accumulated of stealing.
And a lot of history.
And a lot of history. And
so you're under a lot of pressure.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was. It was a hard time when I was 26, 27. It was really tough. But then looking across the room and seeing my daughter just watching TV or something, you know, it's just like, oh, this is pretty cool. Like, you know, sitting here with my daughter, like, and then I'd think of 10 years prior to that, and I thought, there's no way I was going to have kids. There's not a chance. I wasn't the have kid person. I wasn't the person to be responsible enough to have a kid.
And it's sort of in those moments you're like, fuck, I'm still here somehow, and I've done something good with my life. And that feeling of love became a reason. Like, you want more of that.
Absolutely. And no judging, like, she didn't know any different, but just come up and give you a cuddle and love your dad, and, like, I mean, that's priceless.
Yeah.
That's priceless. And you know what? That's probably what I was looking for
the whole time.
And
you had to create it yourself.
Yeah, I had to create it myself. We had an amazing bond, and still have to this day. And we were just together the whole time. And then I met my current partner. I met her before I met my daughter's mother. We had a little thing going, and, you know, and I was too busy earning my $800 a week and getting on the piss. And
you reconnected with her.
Reconnected.
Yeah.
And I drove out and left a little letter on her wheelie bin, just, hey, it's Ben, you know, I didn't know she had hooked up with someone or
your sweetheart. That's how they did it in those days.
Yeah, that's it. There was no texting. There was no Facebook. So I left the letter on a bin that was out the front, put a rock on it, and well, it must have been phones because she rang me. And then we hooked up. And we hooked up from there. And that was 1999. And she changed. Not only did I and Jordan and Jessie help change my way of thinking, but then meeting Cindy, she was the first person I trusted, and that's a big thing as well. As in,
it wasn't taken from you, or
no, and I just trusted her from the get go. She's just a trustworthy person, and she's got a big heart, like, and she's just a great person to be around, and just took my mind off all the bullshit, and
well, you felt like you could rely on someone for the first time other than yourself.
Yeah, exactly, and just felt felt comfortable, and I felt comfortable around her, and that was a big thing, as well as being with Jordan. I felt the love there, like, you know, straight away. I felt the connection. And
so then how did life improve work-wise and everything?
Well, I still wasn't working because I was sole parent of Jordan, and I wasn't putting into childcare. I wasn't going to do that side of things. So in my mind, and also I wasn't 100% confident that I would kick the habit if I went back earning big money and doing big hours again, and I knew I was easily misled.
Yep.
And so I made it in my mind when I took Jordan that I was going to wait until she goes to school, and then I'll start looking for a job. That did happen. She went to school, and then Cindy's stepfather needed someone to help. He was a stonemason.
Yep. So
I went and worked for him for a couple of years.
And you've been clean like 4 years?
Yeah. So I was and then I knew. So the timing was right, everything was right. Jordan was going to school. We didn't even have a car. We were carrying, because my partner had 2 girls as well. So it was a Brady bunch put together. And we had we ended up there was times we were driving around getting toilet paper from the fucking park, and she, you know, it was tough.
Yeah,
she wasn't like, you know, there was no money. We'll just, you know, we'd come together and we just nutted it out and did what we did. There was no breaking the law or any, you know, drug abuse or anything like that, or abuse to the kids or anything like that. It was just put together and we soldiered on. And when the youngest one, which was mine, Jordan, went to school, that's when her stepfather rang and said the job. Yep, rah. So we went and knew that the habit was gone then. I mean, that was, you know, it'd been 4 years. But then I started playing cricket with Two Wells, which was where I was living. And again, just walked in off the street and did the old, you know, let me have a crack sort of thing.
Yeah, you're still good?
I was still good. No. And then just got work through there. So all my jobs have come linked from cricket.
Yeah.
And even to what I'm doing now is linked from starting cricket, playing at Two Wells through people I knew, and then you just go on and here we are. We both drive road trains across Australia now. So it's been a massive turnaround. And I still have my bad days, and my bad days aren't good, but I look for a reason to continue on. And
you found reasons along the way.
I found reasons along the way, and I have. And probably when I stopped playing cricket due to being an old bastard, I didn't have anything.
Community.
Yeah. There was nothing to look forward to on the weekends, and I felt a bit lost because I'd had that for a while and it had been not taken again, but, you know, this time it wasn't voluntary. It just, you know, it just happened. I was too old. So
how did you replace that?
I bought a drone. I initially bought the drone because my partner is right into horses, and she was sitting back one day and she's like, oh, you need to get me one of them so I can ride and it can follow me. And I'm just like, oh yeah, here we go. Right, okay.
What, you just seen one go
past?
No,
on TV, they're advertising it or something. And this is, you know, a couple of years ago now. I was like, oh yeah, no worries. Looked up the prices. Like, oh yeah, right, okay, yeah, just to follow you around, eh?
Yeah, because they're a couple grand, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. So and she was continued on from it, so it wasn't just a one conversation. So she mentioned it a few times. I thought, all right, well, Christmas coming up, we'll, you know, do it. So I did it. I think I followed her once with the horses, and then I sat in the cupboard for a year and a half, and I was like, okay, that was a good investment.
Yeah.
And we were driving across to Perth every week, and I was like, oh, I'm just going to take the drone with me. I've never taken a photo of my life even on a phone. I have, and I look back at them now, they're all like, you know, crooked, and I said, oh, we'll take the drone with us and just see what happens. Like, you know, get a photo of the truck. And so we pulled up on the Nullarbor on the Great Australian Bight, which is there's a few times in life I've experienced being in situations where nothing else matters, and standing on the edge of those cliffs, looking at 150 kilometres that way and 150 kilometres that way of a 140 metre drop to the ocean. It was the most calming, peaceful experience. You can't even, it's hard to explain it. It really is. And I'm terrified of heights. And I got from here to the edge of there. Not once did I feel scared or everything. It was
almost like connected to a higher power.
Yeah, exactly what it was. Exactly what it was. And anyway, so I took the drone there, put it up 30 metres, bit of an angle, bang, took a photo, unedited, and just raw as. Whacked it up on Facebook, took it in JPEG, didn't even know about RAW and all the rubbish that goes with it that I've had to learn. My
does
goodness.
Your head in.
So JPEG, so I tried running it through this Lightroom thing and it just wasn't happening. Anyway, I put it up on Facebook and it got like 300 likes or something, this first photo. I was like, oh wow, this is just on a trucking page sort of thing. And as time went on, I jumped on YouTube to learn everything that I know now from editing is from YouTube. And it just took over my life, and it really did. Getting to that addiction, what's it called? Personality addiction, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
This just replaced everything.
In a really healthy way, though.
In a healthy way. I was like, where am I going to be in 5 hours when I take over driving? Oh, yeah, I'm going to be here. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be here. The sun's going to be up here. It's rah. What am I going to learn? Oh, YouTube. I've got to YouTube how to edit videos.
You never would have seen that coming, eh?
Never would have seen that coming. Yeah.
And then made your own page, obviously.
And then made my own page, which I was hesitant at. When I first started, I made it and then had 50 followers for like 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And they were my mates. I think, what's the fucking point of having that and that? And I might as well just, keep one. But then posted one picture in particular that was of the Port Augusta tanks. Had a heap of tyres in them. And it just went off from there. So now it's at just about to click 90,000 followers, which is, it's great for a personal thing as well, but it's also great for what I've also learned along the way is to give back to society. And I feel like, not that I owe anything, I don't feel like I owe anything, but there's some good people along the way on the streets when I was on the streets that helped me out. One in particular was a fella come up to me and he came up and gave me $20 and a pizza and said, it was a cold night. He goes, go get, something warm, have warm feed, rah, rah. And it's just something I've never forgot. Didn't change my world, not at all did it change my world, but I'll never forget it. And I never forget the feeling of getting something when you got absolutely nothing. And I was, through on the streets, I was roller coaster ride mentally, like just one day to the next was just horrific to being like, this is a pretty cool day. And that was a cool day. Even when I met up with my new current partner, there wouldn't be a time I walked past a homeless without giving them $5 or something, just to...
Yeah, because you had that empathy.
Yeah.
Had been you for so long.
And people say, they're just going to go by. I don't give a shit what they're going to go by. So I don't care what they're going to do with it. The fact is that they're going to remember that, that someone's giving me $50 because there's not too many people that are going to hand them $50 for starters.
And because you remember that still.
Oh, absolutely. And mine was $20 and a pizza, which is probably equivalent to what the $50 is now.
But it was what it meant, though.
It was what it meant. It wasn't the amount. Exactly right. It was the intention of it. And even going to wake up a homeless, like I remember in Melbourne, just a girl, like she would have been 15, like laying on the bench, like bare feet. It's freezing Melbourne, like, in footy season. I said, fucking go buy a bloody blanket. This was like 6 a.m. Otherwise I would have gone and bought a blanket. And I don't know what she'd done with the money or whatever, but it was just always a good feeling. And it lifted me as well. It lifted my mental health. Like it really did, like helping out people.
Yeah.
And it's
it takes you out of your own mind and always looking, inwards at yourself, and you focus on someone else and give to others.
Yeah,
and
right.
It just makes you feel better.
Yeah. And it does, and it makes you feel better. And knowing that you made them feel better is a big thing.
And so you do that with the page now.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I don't know what percentage I give to a charity. I mean,
And is it to charities that help the homeless?
It's a variety. I'm not set on one charity.
Yep.
Just random shit. I'll just put up a post. Hit me up some schools that have got breakfast clubs. Auction off a picture, $800.
Sure.
Ring up that school that has been tagged in. Doing breakfast club. Yeah, bang. Here's $800.
Awesome.
And just random. So there's not like this month. Coming up, we're going to do $2,000. And my daughter got given some money for Christmas, and she's put towards it too. And she's just a great kid. She really is. She's all about the cause, and she's just a really good girl. And so we're going to do $2,000 in Big W gift cards for going back to school, like for single parents that, just to buy a fucking school bag and shoes and some clothes for the kids. So it's not all about the homeless.
Yeah.
Just
people who need it.
Just people who need it. I mean, last week spent $400 or $300 on cold chickens for homeless in Perth. Just seen a thing come up because I'm Facebook friends with groups like homeless groups.
And what is it about this community on the Drone Way that's that engaged and just loves giving to these kinds of causes? Like, what's special about that? Because you can tell from looking on it that they're super engaged, and they love the content, but they want to help as well, and you've got something special there.
Yeah, well, honestly, I think it's just because I be me. And I don't know if it's being big-headed or whatever, but I'll just be me. I've had advice on, I don't write like that. Well, I'm not going to not be me because that's not me. Yeah. So I think people engage that I'm fair dinkum about it and passionate about it, and their money is actually going to go to where I fucking say it's going to go. I'm not going to say, did $1,000 to Mary down the road, and there's no such thing as Mary. So
of course not.
Apart from they like the photos, I like to think they think I'm a good fella too. So
and what has all this done for you?
massive lift it is for me. It's given me a reason to keep going. As stupid as that sounds, even with kids, grandkids, whatever, if you're in a situation where you're down and down and down, you don't necessarily, you think by ending your life, you're doing everyone you
think of yourself as a burden.
A burden, exactly right. So as much as I had all that to look forward to, my kids and everything, the drone really took my mind away from.
It gave you an outlet.
It gave me an outlet. It was my thing.
Which is also why people love it, which is the beauty of it.
Yeah.
And that you have something creative and artistic to offer the world, surprisingly, that so many people love and want to engage with.
Yeah.
And that's partly because you're you because everything you've been through.
It's like, exactly.
Pretty crazy, really.
It's all just been jammed into one. And it's good. I really like it.
What would you go back and tell that version of yourself that was going to end it all those times?
I never planned ahead. It just wasn't put in me. So to think of to one day you want to end your life, to the next days can be completely different, and the next day and the next day, and every day is different. So in the moment of I want to end my life is to think about what's going to happen in a week. Have something that's just, it doesn't matter how big or small it is, but have something there that's worth not killing myself for, and things can change in a heartbeat. Like I said, I didn't know I was going to fucking take photos with a drone, and like I said, I've never taken them with a camera. But if I could give myself some advice back then, would be plan ahead a bit. Plan that life's not going to be the same in a week as what it was to when I wanted to kill myself.
So see your life and yourself as more than that immediate moment.
Yeah.
You know, be able to see, even if it's a day ahead or a week ahead.
Exactly right, even a day ahead. And I wasn't even living a day ahead. I was living to the next hour. Like, I wasn't planning on the next day. I was just living in the moment every day, which was not a good moment to be living in, because it's hard to get out of that moment when you're in that moment. But if you've got something to, just to look forward to, I think is the key, to have something.
What has kept you alive?
Last 20 years, what's kept me alive is my kids and my partner. That's really what's kept me alive. If I didn't have them, I think things would be a lot different. And I think that would be a lot different. But the first few years, there was just luck, I think. I think it was just luck. I don't know if that's the answer that we're looking for, but I think it was just luck. That I didn't end my life. And then for the last 20 years, there's been any attempts. There's been thought process, 10, 15, 20 times a day, like just bang there, driving past something, going, oh yeah, that's where I could do it, or this is, the scenarios running through your head, and then coming back to, I've got a good missus, I've got good kids, and it's just things that snap you out of it.
It's important to note, as you've mentioned, that you do still struggle from time to time now with some of that thinking and having tough days, but that's everyone, and there's no cure for mental ill health, or there's no even if you haven't been through mental illness or had that kind of a life, everyone's going to continually have to have their ups and downs and be able to figure out how they can work through things and what they need to do personally to be able to pull themselves back up out of those dark spaces.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are those things for you now that you've worked out?
To pull myself out of the dark places is to occupy myself is a massive thing. Whether to go out, do some fencing, or to go out, fly the drone, go out, cuddle with the grandkids, talk to my daughter, talk to my partner. It's about changing my mindset, and as soon as I start to be able to do that, and it's hard when you're not to change your mindset. It is, because you get back to it, and you get back to it, and you get back to it. But there is no cure. It's a disease. To me, I don't know. It feels like it's a disease that I've got, that I'm managing, I'm managing it. What pulls me out of it is just positive thoughts. It's just trying to think of something positive and stick with it. And like I said, if it's flying the drone or having a chat to the missus, or...
What are you living for now?
I'm living for life. I'm living because I want to see my grandkids grow up, and I really do. They're such good kids, and it's a proud moment. I want to see them grow up and succeed. I'm living for my family, and you know what? And most importantly, I'm living for myself, and to be the man of the house, and to and to have that responsibility where I didn't have that. I wasn't responsible. I enjoy being responsible.
You're well and truly ready for it now.
Yeah, I think I'm growing up now.
It took a while.
Should have been doing this a long time ago.
Yeah, and you fought bloody hard to still be here too.
I did. I have. I fought. Yeah, I did. I fought hard. It's been a rough ride, but it's been a good ride. I've had lots of ups as well, and a shitload of downs.
What's a hell of a story.
It is. It is a hell of a story.
Yeah.
And
I'm glad that you're here to tell it now, and I'm sure a lot of people are too. And I think it's inspiring in a very legitimate way that someone who's been through what you've been through, who's been able to find themselves in such a positive place where you do have so many beautiful things in your life, and you're a massive positive influence on so many other people in your life, and even outside of that in a much broader community, and you're just doing all these things that you wouldn't have imagined for so long being able to do, and you still have tough times because you're human, but you well and truly are happy to be here, and I think that's what people need to see.
Yeah, I am. I'm happy to be here, and I love making people feel good. As much as that, I don't know if that's a selfish way of motivating myself to feel good.
It's very human, man. That's how it's meant to be.
I like putting smiles on people's faces, and the page does that. Not only does it help, but it actually people get a bit of a laugh out of it as well, because I'd like to take the piss a bit here and there, and it's good, and it makes me feel good. So it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, and you're just yourself, and it's taken you a while, but you've made life work.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll never change being who I am.
If you're a fan of the work we're doing or have a suggestion for the show, please rate us on Apple Podcasts and leave a comment. You can follow Youngblood Men's Health Matters on Facebook, Instagram and YouTube, and visit our website youngbloodmedia.com.au to stay up to date. And most importantly, if this conversation resonated with you, share it with someone you love and start a conversation of your own. A huge thank you to our local business supporters who've joined our mission to change the lives of young men for the better and help make this possible. We're all in it together. This is Youngblood. Thanks for being part of the mission. Catch you next time.